Welcome back to Alberta Primetime. Joining our Wednesday crime panel, Mark Charrington, Youth Justice Advocate. Hello. Defence Lawyer Rod Gregory. Welcome back, Hello. Rod. And Calgary Herald crime reporter Jason Van Rassel. Hi to you as well, Jason.
Hi, Mike.
In the provincial budget, it was announced that increased funding will allow for 90 more RCMP officers and 55 more sheriffs in the province over the next 2 years. Funding for municipal police forces largely unchanged. The Mounties will see 30 new officers this year and 60 next year. Not knowing how these officers will be divvied up throughout the province. The sheriffs apparently replacing some empty positions in courtrooms. Mark, a couple weeks to digest the details of this budget, extra money going to the Solicitor General's department. Cash well spent from the front lines.
No. I believe that, you know, I don't understand the methodology about hiring police officers. It seems to go with the wind. I'd like to see something more significant in the sense of a formula where X number of Albertans equal one RCMP officer. I think to me, it's just a reactionary sort of outcome based on public perception. And again, I've always advocated that if you want a real crime prevention sort of formula, then you need to look at crime prevention, not reactionary sort of policing and that. Now, we do need a police force, obviously, but I think that we just focus too much on sort of the sexiness of having RCMP officers everywhere and police forces. I think that if you had community activated sort of programming with crime prevention dollars, you would see, in my opinion, a lot more safer communities.
Rod, we've spoken on this panel before about the need for more security in courtrooms. Lack of sheriffs. Looks like that is being addressed to a degree. What do you make of where the budget dollars are going?
Well, in terms of the sheriffs specifically, I guess following up from what Mark says, maybe we need fewer people in the courthouse rather than more sheriffs, but we have too many people in the courthouse and there aren't enough sheriffs. So it sounds like a trivial problem, but there actually aren't enough sheriffs to move prisoners into courtrooms to have trials completed expeditiously, and it's a real problem for judges, prosecutors, and defense lawyers. But I agree with Mark that maybe we can also look at an emphasis on crime prevention and restorative justice and other programs as well. Comp Start are all the crime policing methods to make police forces more efficient are things that we should look at in Alberta that they're looking at across North America.
Jason, you wrote about challenges in rural policing only days before the two Mounties were shot in Killam. What are you hearing in response to the budget from that rural perspective?
Well, first of all, I agree with Mark and Rod that more money can be put into crime prevention measures. But yes, we do need police, and insofar as we've got to fund enforcement, I think that the government has been pretty strategic here. 90 RCMP officers coming in, while we don't see much of an increase to the municipal policing grants, kind of reflects some of the population trends we're seeing in the province, where these bedroom communities outside of cities like Calgary and Edmonton are experiencing population growth. These are communities that are policed by the RCMP. So I think they've actually, I know Mark seems to think it's kind of arbitrary, but I think they've actually been strategic here.
All right. Did you want to come back on that? Or?
Well, I mean, you know, there's, again, they don't advertise the methodology of why we need the police officers, and crime is going down.
Well, there is a formula, Mark. It's pretty arcane. That's the problem. We're not going to be able to explain it here.
Well,
all right, let's move on. We have a couple more topics we'll try and get through tonight. Molson Coors Canada will no longer sell its Black Label Big Ten in Alberta. The beer comes in a 1.18 liter bottle, contains 10.1% alcohol, making it 3 times the size of a regular bottle with twice the alcohol content. The decision to pull the beer came after surveys showed that the large, cheap bottles of booze contribute to more alcohol-driven violence. Mark, what impact will this actually have on violent crime rates?
It's a start. You know, alcohol is a significant problem in our cities, in our communities. And yesterday, Human and myself were dealing with an 11-year-old who was being sexually exploited for a bottle of vodka. And what bothers me is that Molson is reacting to public perception again. But when they made this product, when they marketed this product, when they looked at the sales of this product being, in inner cities, they know what the damage they're causing. They know, the distillers and the breweries know the violence associated with alcohol. They know the health risks associated with alcohol. And I think, quite frankly, they could be doing a lot more. I'd love Molson's just to pay for one FASD assessment, just one, or provide one treatment bed for some 15-year-old kid that has nowhere to live. And maybe they need to go on a ride along and see the damage that their product is causing. And I think it's time that the alcohol industry be held accountable, be held responsible, and start being, good neighbors and good community partners.
Rod, do you see this as a nod to what Mark is saying? The fact that here's a corporation willing to take a product off the shelves across the province?
I agree with Mark that they have to go further, and I think in my practice I don't see a lot of this type of crime or clients, but when I'm in my parking lot this morning, there's one of those bottles, those large cans sitting in my parking lot. So there are people in the downtown area who go to liquor stores and they buy these cheap, high alcohol content drinks, and that contributes to the problems in the downtown core.
Jason, what do you think here? Is this a quick fix solution? Do those who consume this beverage, do they look somewhere else?
It's a quick fix in the sense that there are other high-octane beers sold in these 1-liter bottles. I think it's important to point out that 10% alcohol beer in and of itself isn't the problem. In fact, Trappist monks have been brewing it in Belgium for years. Now the difference is that's sold in usually little 330 milliliter bottles and is sipped by people, after a fine dinner. Mark has made an excellent point that Molson made and marketed this product knowing that it was going to a far different audience, and they've done a good thing, although it's an incremental thing by maybe pulling it off the shelves. But there are other products out there that fill the gap just as easily, and I suppose even if you took these beers off the shelf, that people would switch to other things. But baby steps, it does seem to be something that will have some effect. We do see a company like Molson taking some social responsibility. Can they go further? Definitely.
And Mark, do the folks who buy this booze, do they now look somewhere else? Well, is it there for them, or do they turn to another product?
Well, they'll turn to another product, and we can ban this product or ban that. That's not, that's going to have maybe a short-term impact. But, at the end of the day, our inner cities are still going to be raped and pillaged by Captain Morgan. They're going to find something else to move on to. And if it's not alcohol, then it could be crack cocaine, it could be mouthwash, it could be other sort of, solvents. Abuse is there. What I'm saying is that as an industry, they need to acknowledge the harm that their product is causing and come up and act responsibly and actually deal with the problem.
Gentlemen, an insightful discussion as always. Thank you kindly. That's Mark Charrington, Youth Justice Advocate, Defence Lawyer Rod Gregory, and in Calgary tonight, Herald crime reporter Jason Van Rassel.